Anonymous Hacking Simulator is a hacking game that puts you into the shoes of a hacker that works for Anonymous. This is going to be a slightly different review because I'm going to be talking over gameplay that I've played more recently, so you can see how the game works and how I play through it. The game has a first person control where you can walk around, but the majority of your gameplay will be spent in this UI here. On the right hand side of the UI you can see your gigs, which are jobs that you can take to make money throughout the game. In the center you can see the alert status. During hacking jobs, your alert status can go up depending on your actions, which affects your heat and who can come after you and whether you can get into trouble. You also have the performance section, which shows you what gigs you've done, and as you can see all the information about what you've done throughout the game. This is more interesting as you go further onto the game, but it's not necessary to play it. And then you have your wallet, which is your virtual currency, which is money you earn from gigs. When you take a job in the game on the normal standard difficulty, you will be able to see all of the steps that you have to take in order to complete the job. If you do it on the more expert difficulty, you don't get as many hints and it's a little bit harder to do. If you've never done any kind of programming or hacking before, this is always a good idea to start off the game on the normal one as an amateur hacker, so it gives you a bit more of an idea of what you need to be doing. You also have the Hackify shop, which gives you software that you can buy in order to help you with what your jobs are, essentially with software that allows you to hack and do certain things. You also have exploits to allow you to get into systems, which you'll see how that works shortly, and you have phishing things as well as credit cards and account things where you can save this information from people's PCs when you hack into them, and then you can sell them essentially to get money or withdraw money from their accounts. The main part of the game will always be played in the terminal, as you can see, and there's some shortcuts that are very useful in the terminal which make it quite easy to play the game. Like for example there, you just see that I started to type something, I'm able to press tab to complete what it says. So starting to type in error, it comes up error dump, error run as you type it, you press tab to autofill. You can then autofill every other part that you don't have to type into, so all the grey areas, when you press the tab button it will autofill that section and then you just fill in the white areas. As you can see there, that's what I'm doing with the BSSID, and then you're able to actually go up to things like this. You're able to highlight it and press Ctrl C and Ctrl V to copy and paste it, which makes it a lot easier and you don't have to worry about typing it in. This is the first mission that essentially tasks you with connecting to someone's Wi-Fi and hacking into it, and that's exactly what I'm doing now. But I'm sure you don't want to see the boring mission, so let's show you a little bit more of an advanced mission that I played later on in the game. So this mission tasked me with essentially getting into Ronald Grump's computer and deleting some files. So as you can see, I go to Hackify, I download Burp, which is a password cracking software. I use the Nmap command, which allows you to essentially scan a network and find out what kind of protection and security it has. And then I can see that Eternal Blue 1.0.3 is what I need in order to get through it. So I'll go across to Hackify and I make sure that I have the exploit that I need to get into the system. From there I will use the intruder command, which is what you use with Burp in order to attack a system, as it says up there on the right hand side. As I previously copied the IP, then I'll just paste that in and put the payload and put payload as 0 because that's what it says on the bottom, and I didn't know what I was doing here, so I just guessed 0 might be the thing because it shows it. And then the program runs and does what it needs to do in order to crack passwords. Sometimes this can take a little bit of time and you just gotta wait through it, but this kind of adds to the realism of the game and the way it works. It's not just instant, it doesn't just happen straight away. Once the attack is complete, I'd have to use the user command in order to run the exploit that I need, so I run Nmap just to get back exactly what I needed to put in so I can see that Eternal Blue 1.0.3 is on there. Then I use the use command to actually activate that exploit and use it on the system. And copy and paste the IP address because I pasted something else and copied something since then. Once that goes through, it gives me access to the system and the files pop up there. It gives me the ability to go through the system and get what I need to. Then the mission on this one, as you can see here, is that I need to download that text file and I need to send that to leaks.com, and then delete all files inside the classified folder. Now the optional one is something I probably should have done first. It didn't actually stay up after I completed this, as you'll see, and I've had to kind of remember and go off memory to figure out where I actually had to send that file. So I downloaded the file, and then I go through and make sure everything else on the system is not useful, like credit card files and things like that. Then I go through and delete all the files. Once that's done, a new gig becomes available and I get paid, and I didn't have the information of where I had to send it. So I decided to download the email file just in case I needed access to it at some point, which I didn't. It was a waste of time. And check the other stuff in there just to see if there's anything useful, which there wasn't. Once you press X, it disconnects, or you can type disconnect into the actual terminal in order to disconnect. It was at this point that I realized that I didn't know where to send it, and I had to kind of delve into my memory to try and remember where I had to send the file to get the bonus thing. As you can see, I go into the file and I copy that so I can put the file name down correctly, and I paste that in and then host, and then I went into my memory and remembered that just about. Once that is connected and sent, and then you can see in the bottom right hand corner that I'll receive a bonus amount for doing that bonus objective. And that is how the game works, and it is a rinse and repeat kind of thing, except for that every single mission and every objective you do has different things. You'll need different exploits, and by the time you get to the end of the game, you're going to have all the software and all the exploits. I think it's a really in-depth game, and it's really good. If you make mistakes on things when you're on a system, then you can add to your heat, which can obviously make it so that people are after you. If you do it really well, then that doesn't happen, but you do get a bonus if your heat is above 80% when you do missions, which is kind of an interesting way to play through the game. It also makes it a bit more risky. Every time you connect to a system, you do have a timer that counts down that gives you a limitation of how long you could be connected, and then you have to disconnect before that. I have not actually waited and stayed connected when the timer ran out to find out what happens, because that's a silly thing to do. And when it comes down to the game, my personal opinion is this is actually really it's a fun game if you like hacking games. It's a fun game if you like programming and the idea of doing things like this. I think that one thing that they are missing in this game is a sandbox mode of some sort, with a database of people and companies that you could potentially hack into just to have fun rather than follow a story-based narrative. One of my favorite hacking games that I've played is Uplink Hacker Elite, which I found was an amazing game, and they did have a huge database of characters and people that kind of allowed you to just hack random systems or find IPs that connected to a system you hacked into, copy those IPs, and then try to hack into those other systems. And I think this game would benefit with something like that in like a sandbox mode to give it more playability for when you complete the game and obviously be able to carry on. It would also be more beneficial to have more upgrade paths when it comes to software and hardware within your system to make things run faster. I think the developer of this game could definitely look at Uplink Hacker Elite and see the way the upgrade systems work in that game, and then get some ideas from that, because that would work really well in this game. But that's the basics of the game, so you know, they've got other videos on the channel that you can watch. They're up here now. Last thing for me to say is get down in the comments below. Give me your opinion on what you think of the game, or whether it's something you're going to play. And of course, I've been Lycan from Green Lycan Reviews. Thank you for watching my video, and I will see you in the next one.